Hey everybody, welcome back to Twin Talk USA. I'm Cameron.
I'm Lane.
And today we have a little special guest, my wife, Erica.
Hi.
Welcome to the set.
Thanks.
Let's talk about it.
So what's happening, man? What's going on?
Well, I know we both went and saw Sound of Freedom this last weekend, so I figured we would dive into that today. It was very eye-opening.
It was, to say the least.
I wasn't ignorant to the fact that child sex trafficking was happening.
Right.
Just not at the magnitude that this movie brings out.
Yeah.
It really was like, oh my, yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, on a global scale, you're like, oh my God.
Right. And don't get me wrong, the movie was great. I think it was a great movie. They did it really well.
Yes,
it's I'm not going to say it's fun, but it's engaging.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It is engaging. It gets your brain moving. It gets you thinking about it.
Absolutely, especially if you're a parent and you got kids.
My big thing going into that movie was like, man, like I thought it was going to be really hard to watch just from like a parental standpoint, because obviously once you become a parent, you get more emotional with things.
Life, life is a little different once you got children.
Way different. You, as a dad, you cry at stuff you didn't cry at before. And
I see the wrong commercial, I tear up.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
So I definitely went in there like, man, this is going to be a rough watch. And I know I'm not the only person that had that thought. So if there's dads out there who are like, I want to see it, but I'm a little timid about it just because. I'm gonna lose sleep over it.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as you think.
Yeah, they don't show any. Let's like paint a little picture. So they don't show any harm to kids. It's PG-13, I think.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job of conveying the message of what's happening in the scene without actually showing the actions. That
right. Yeah, you definitely know what's going to happen or is happening. They do it in a way where it's not going to scar you, but it definitely
gets the point across.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen all the posts about what's been going on in all the theaters around the nation?
Yeah.
Like air conditioners going bad all of a sudden, or it's too cold, or
fire alarms going off in the middle of the movie. And the people weren't getting up. They're like, screw it, we're watching it.
You can find all these videos online.
They're all over Instagram. They're on Facebook. I mean, they're there. And I was waiting for it at our theater. I was kind of like, which one are they going to do? Those bastards better not turn off the AC.
Yeah. They made this movie 5 years ago.
Yeah, they did.
So that puts a little perspective in there. And why was it so difficult for them to get that movie out of their hands?
Well, and why wasn't Disney like pushing to put it out?
Yeah, why wouldn't Disney want to piggyback on that and say, hey, you know what? Our whole world is based on children, right? Why wouldn't you be the spearhead? I can see where the conspiracy stuff comes from as far as Disney.
Supposedly,
see, I don't want to say things that are going to get us in trouble. You know what I mean? Like being, they're sexualizing children.
Right.
I'm gonna say it.
But you're not off for thinking it.
Well, if you look at some of the shows coming out of Disney nowadays,
you got 12-year-olds in like full makeup,
belly shirts, makeup. I don't know they're TV shows, but God, when we were kids, we had like Even Stevens.
Yeah, bell bottoms.
Yeah, no, we weren't that old.
Well, it was still. I mean, it was 90s.
Yeah, Xenon. We had like Xenon, like those movies like that.
Bell bottoms were hot in the 90s, early 90s.
I don't think so.
I feel like I had a few pairs of bell bottoms.
Yeah,
they're coming back.
They are coming back. I have to get some for work. I'm going to have to make boot cut.
Ooh, they might. They might. That's the year the early 90s is when the corduroys went out.
The corduroy? I did have corduroys. How do you say that? Corduroys. Corduroy. There you go. Corduroy.
But
anyways.
How about some of the reviews coming out on this movie? That's what's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, the one from Rolling Stone, they have a full article.
What was the title of that one?
Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brain worms.
Okay.
How do you justify that one?
You don't.
That was from where?
Rolling Stone. I implore everybody to go read the Rolling Stone article online. It's a big article, and
it's like a big hit piece, though.
It's mind-blowing. That's all I want to say about it. I want people to get their own. I don't want to put out my perception of it. Go make your own determination of it. Go read it.
Now, is it Tim Ballard that people are having such an issue with, or is it the movie itself? Is it a combination of both? I mean, if you think about it, if you take Tim Ballard out of the picture, right? Remove him, the guy who played him. You have a movie about somebody, regardless of who it is, going in and rescuing kids who are being trafficked, whether that's for sex, whether that's for labor, whether that's for organ harvesting. You'd think people would be like, oh my gosh, somebody's finally bringing this to light because it's happening. It's not fictitious. Child trafficking is actually happening.
The stats are out there.
It's $150 billion a year industry.
Yeah.
And the United States is the biggest.
The number one consumer.
That's terrible.
That's disgusting.
That's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
Who are like, what is there like a demographic? Is there a group of people? Like, what?
I feel like it's any. Are you saying
who's the customer? Yeah,
I think it's anyone. So I don't think there's like a general demographic. If you look at the consumers, they're all over the world. You have people in the United States, Colombia, Africa, India. I mean, I don't think there's a specific demographic where you can scan the room and say, oh, there's one.
No, because I mean, they're just everyday people too, which is scarier too.
That's very scary.
Yeah.
And you know, we took our oldest daughter with us to see this movie.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we did. Because I wanted her. I mean, I didn't want to scare her too much, but I wanted to let her know, because we talk about it at home. Like, this is real. This isn't a joke.
Like, she gets mad at us when we say she's only 13, so she comes out wearing makeup, and she dresses modestly, but she has some occasions where she tries to look older than she is.
That's
okay?
like the stereotypical. She wants to go to the
mall alone with her friends or the movies, and I'm like, no, Caleb, this stuff happens, and she always rolls her eyes, and she's like, you guys are just being overprotective. But now I think,
yes, we are.
Yeah, and now I think she realizes a little bit more that, okay, this is actually happening.
Just here in San Diego at the malls around here, they've had issues with human trafficking.
Yeah,
grabbing women on their way to their cars.
One of the malls is 10 minutes away from my house, 8 minutes.
Yeah,
that was a mall that we frequented a lot.
Oh, we used to go there a lot as a kid. And just walk
I have a scary story about Mission Valley. So
that's right.
I drive around a lot for work. You know, I'm all over the county, and I decided to park in front of the mall on my lunch break. And I was talking to my sister on the phone, and I wasn't super close to the front. You know, I was a little ways away, and I wasn't paying attention. I was just looking down, eating my food on the phone with my sister. I happened to like yawn and stretch and look over to my left, and there was a car who had backed in right next to me. Keep in mind, I'm not right up front where all the shoppers are coming in and out of. I'm kind of in the back, just in an open lot. And out of all the spots, or all the empty spots surrounding me, this guy backed right in so that his back driver door was up against my driver door. And I look over, and as I looked in the car, I could see that he had put up a blanket dividing the two front seats and the two back seats, and his windows were completely black, and he was just sitting there like staring at me through a little crack in the
sheet he put up?
No, in the driver's side passenger door. He had cracked his window a little bit, and he was just staring at me.
That's scary.
Could you imagine if I would have just gotten out of my car, and who knows what could have happened?
Never know. Yeah.
That was so scary. So yes, we are being overprotective.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, like at the beginning of the movie, and not to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, like we were talking about earlier, just the guilt that dad probably felt when he dropped his kids off.
Could you imagine?
So what was the deal with the lady who ended up selling the kids?
The beauty pageant lady. So her real name is Kelly Suarez.
Okay.
So she was a beauty pageant winner. She was like famous in Colombia. And she used her status to lure these kids and families in with these promises of, hey, we're going to make you a movie star. You're going to be a model. You're a great singer. Cool. I heard you singing. We're going to put your kid up. We're going to cast him. We're going to take pictures to, bring him here Tuesday next week. And then we'll be done at 7. You can't stay because we don't want any stage parents in here. Right. So she would use her all her glamour to lure these people in. And, like you said, the dad goes back, and all his kids are gone. There's like, I don't know, 15, 20 kids in that room, and goes back to get them, and they're not there anymore. And that dread, and the actor did a really good job of portraying that helpless. And we've had to deal with that. Our oldest daughter, on her first day of her first grade, decided that she was big enough to walk home on her own.
Oh my gosh!
And didn't she ask you guys too? Before that happened?
She's like, Mommy, I'm in first grade now. Can we walk home? And I said, sure, love, because we're only like a mile from the house, maybe if that. Mm-hmm. And that first day of school, I go to pick her up, and I'm looking around like, okay, where is she? Turns out she decided that was the day she was going to walk home by herself. But
what, in
that
first grade?
Instant feeling of, oh my gosh, where's my kid?
It's
and like you start looking around at houses and cars, and you just never know.
Yeah, the world feels very, very large when you when you think you lose a child. Everyone's a suspect, and then your brain starts doing all these crazy things, and you go down the rabbit hole very fast, deep. Too. And it only happened for 30 minutes?
Yeah. She Cameron as he was flying down the hill to get to
ripping around in my work truck, and there's just, it looks like a garage sale in the back of my work truck, just tools everywhere, and I'm ripping this old Chevy around trying to find her, and I'm like thinking, okay, maybe someone picked her up and brought her home, right?
So we're calling everyone. I think we called you and we called your dad.
Well, I was on the phone with her before that. I was like, you tell the school, lock everything down, and we'll call the cops. And I get emotional thinking about it. And so I turn around, like, I'm gonna go back to the house and check the house. So I go ripping up the street, and I see this little kid with this huge backpack, just happy as could be. And I drive by, and I'm like, oh, that looks like Kayla. And as I'm coming by, she's waving and smiling, like, oh, hey, Dad.
I'm just walking home.
She was so proud. And it was summertime too. It was hot. Her little cheeks were beet red. She made it all the way almost. She was like an 1/8 mile from the house. But that scene, that dread, like I keep talking about the dread, it would totally hit home for us because I lived a very small percentage of what someone like that man had to go through. We lived a small fraction. We got our baby back.
You just had a glimpse, an extremely small glimpse of,
and that was enough
of the initial.
Yes.
Start.
And that was enough for a lifetime. And then to go see this movie, it portrays so well the devastation this creates.
Yes.
And to see, like you talked about, all the negativity coming out in the reviews and the media, and some of the ideas coming out of it that I've seen is this is just a big religious push for Christianity because Jim Caviezel is a diehard Christian, and he was in Passion of the Christ, and he's a Bible thumping nut job. And Tim Ballard is a conspiracy theorist, and he's also he's too religious, and they're really going after that aspect.
But I didn't see anything that was over religious. Did you?
No. Literally, the only religious things I saw was he said, "God's children aren't for sale,"
which is a badass line because they're not.
It's solid.
It's just that. And Jim Caviezel does a really good job of portraying the emotion in that scene. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when that character Batman, who used to be, he washed money for the cartels in Colombia or all over the world. He's one of the, we're going to spoil it. He's one of the characters in the movie that helps to save all the children. That's like his life goal.
And the little boy, right, had the necklace with the verse from the Book of Timothy.
Yeah. Yes. I would say those were the only two biblical
things.
And there's a couple other scenes where he references faith and things like that, but the whole focus was not for religion. It wasn't for how great Tim Ballard was, even though he was a freaking hero. The whole focus was towards everyone needs to stop and look at what's going on. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point of the movie. And not the whole movie's not true. Obviously, it's a movie.
Right.
And there's a scene where he kills the head cart, the guerrilla warfare guy, right? Scorpion. That wasn't real. That was Hollywood doll. No. It's not Hollywood. It was Angel Studios. So let's not say Hollywood because Hollywood they didn't want anything to do with it.
No.
They're actually mad right now because do you know how much they're grossed so far?
The movie?
The movie?
Oh, it's over 50 million.
It's over 85 million now.
Woo.
It was a low budget film to begin with. They didn't have a whole lot of money in relative to other movies. They had 14 million, I think, total.
Yeah,
which is a lot of money, but in the movie world, that's not a whole lot. They spend hundreds of millions on making movies.
Right.
Right.
And I mean, not to spoil the end of it, like you said, but he even mentioned we didn't have a ton of marketing money for this movie, so
it's all word of mouth.
Way to get the word out there is to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which people should be doing anyways.
Yes.
It's trafficking kids. We're spending so much money as a country on ridiculous things like the point you brought up earlier. We're spending money on transitioning kids and all these other
all the money going to Ukraine, going to different countries.
So California is trying to pass legislation to where if a parent doesn't agree with their kid's preferred pronouns or gender, that the state can take custody of your child away from you.
Yeah, they're classifying it as a form of child abuse.
Yeah, and that's crazy. So that California bill, SB 14, that they initially shot it down, and it would increase the penalties for, I think it's repeat sex traffickers for minors.
I believe so, yeah.
So it got shot down for whatever reason in California.
Democrats.
It says Senate Bill 14 would add human trafficking of a minor for sex in the list of serious felonies under California Penal Code. Why is it not a serious felony?
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer that should have been on there a long time ago.
You would think so.
That's ridiculous.
And it was all, I'm just going to say it was all Democrats that shot it down. And I read one thing about it. They were saying, well, that's just going to add to our prison system.
Well,
okay, well, that's a pretty good reason to add to that. How about we pull all of these people? How about we take half of the people that Kamala Harris put behind bars for stupid little
for smoking
petty
pot
crimes. Yeah.
Right.
And put sex traffickers in their position.
Yep, absolutely.
Or you buy a private island and you send them all to that island, make them fend for themselves.
You know what I don't understand? People are so quick to put down dogs for hurting children. What about these animals?
God damn, that's why I married her.
That's a good point.
That's it.
That's a good point. Damn. I'm going to get into Congress somehow and I'm going to write that bill.
That should be a law.
Yeah, we're going to make that real.
I want to ask you guys, do you think it'd be different if Tim Ballard was black?
Oh.
Yes.
Or if he was some other high paid
other
actor
than white, because I've heard and I've read from a few different places, it's like the white savior coming to rescue these kids, and it's only, the whole focus is on him and what he's doing. But I mean, like I said before, I listened to a few of his podcasts, and he's like, it's not about what color I am or what color these kids are. It's about saving kids. Why do people have issue saving kids?
Yeah, why can't they focus in on what it's really about?
Yeah, kids are literally the purest form of innocence. And the fact that anyone has anything negative to say about someone who risks his own life, his operators' lives, everyone involved in that organization, why is there an issue with that?
Right. And should he only have saved white people, like white kids?
Yeah, could you imagine?
Right, the backlash on that.
Okay, I'm only going to say white kids. I'm only going to save white kids from Riverside.
Right? Yeah.
Everyone else has to.
Everyone else, themselves. I don't want to offend anybody, so I'm not going to save those ones. That's ridiculous. That's outrageous.
We can find better white kids. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, Carlsbad.
Yeah, Carlsbad. That's crazy.
I'm just kidding. But
I think if it was a different actor, it'd be a different movie too. Say if they used, I don't know,
if they threw a Ryan Reynolds in there.
Yeah, anybody who wasn't a conservative, Christian valued white man.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that movie wouldn't have any problems.
Yeah, I agree.
People need to not look at this as just a movie. It's not just a movie. It's an awakening. It needs to be an awakening.
Yes.
That's how I felt watching it.
I think there's going to be a massive change somehow, somewhere from this. I think this is going to stem.
Absolutely.
This is the seed, dude. The oak tree is going to grow.
It's not like the organization, Operation Underground Railroad. It's not like it's not working. They've saved since 2013. It's like over 7,000 kids,
which is amazing.
Yeah, and they've put over 6,000 traffickers away. And that's all over the world, not just in Mexico or the Middle East. They go, and their reach through their organization is worldwide.
Yeah,
they go into places.
They don't pinpoint it.
No, they go into places where these people would never, ever, ever get saved because they don't have the resources and/or people aren't looking.
Those are today's heroes.
Yes.
Not these people who are brave enough to come out as genderless alien unicorns no. These are today's heroes.
They are.
This is who we should be lifting up.
Well, even
100%.
Tim Ballard back in 2013 or 14. CNN did a big piece about him saying how great he was.
He was a hero. People were all for it. And now
that this hit the streets,
it's like, what happened?
Where's the tone? Where's the tempo change?
Yeah, the guy didn't have to do this. He had a safe job working for the government.
He was
catching bad guys.
He was months away from I don't know, retire receiving
his pension.
Like he was there into his pension.
Yeah, he was in a good spot where he could have just lived fat and happy.
And it's not like what he went and did, like in the movie shows it. He was out in the middle of nowhere doing really dangerous thing with really bad people. He has his own family. He has 9 kids.
Yeah.
And his wife. And he still went through all that. So that has to show people like this guy, he means business.
He gives his wife, and Tim Ballard said this, I don't know if it was in an interview or something, but the reason why he went down there to go save that girl in the movie was because of his wife. He wanted to do it, and she was like, "You need to do what you need to do to go get that girl."
Yep.
And I was like, "God damn,
that's awesome.
That's so dope. I love that."
But you better be home for dinner.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, feed the dogs.
Yeah, feed the dogs.
Overall, it was a great movie, and it's hard to say that it's about child trafficking. It was not political at all. You think it was political at all?
I didn't think it was.
I don't think it was, and it wasn't political.
It wasn't
at all.
Political. It wasn't religious. It wasn't. It wasn't QAnon. It wasn't any of that.
Right.
I mean, that's our opinion, and I'm sticking to it. But I didn't see any of that.
Oh, we should put a link in here for the Pay It Forward.
Oh, yes.
So we'll do that
at the end of the movie. I don't want to spoil it too much, but the main character, what's his name? I always forget.
Jim Caviezel.
Jim Caviezel. He does say, if we want everyone to see the movie, if you can't afford the movie, There's a website you can go to, and tickets are sponsored.
Yes.
So
yeah, which goes to show you. We
donated some tickets.
Yep.
And we'll include the link in here. So
yeah,
if you can't afford to go see the movie.
Yeah, please go see it. Spread the word about it. Talk about it.
Yeah, it's the only way it's going to get out there.
It's a big issue.
Yeah, make up your own mind about it. Don't listen to everybody else. Don't even listen to us. Go see it for yourself.
Yeah, find another podcast to watch.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, but yeah, people need to go see it for themselves because it speaks for itself. It's so loud about what's going on. So anyways.
I think that sums it up, dude. I think we hit the nail on the head.
I feel like my lips are turning blue. I was running out of air on that one.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. If you've made it this far, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you see the movie Sound of Freedom. We'll see you guys next week.